What's up, everybody? It's Gary Alexander from FightersOnlyMag.com here with Frank Mir. Frank, training for this fight about 20 days away, right at?
Yeah, just about there. 2 more weeks of hard training after this week, so yeah, I'm about 20 days away.
No, you were originally supposed to face Nogueira. It would have been a rematch, one that you won very decisively. Are you bummed out that you're not going to be having that rematch? Are you excited about the prospects of having another great fighter to face?
Actually, no, I'm really excited about this one. I really look at it as another opportunity to fight a former Pride. I know he won their absolute tournament in 06, but he's one of their top guys over there that was highly touted coming over.
And I think definitely a top heavyweight in the world still. I mean, you cannot underestimate this dude.
No, that's the thing. I think a lot of guys would probably rather avoid Grokop at this point in his career because I don't think he has the same notoriety that he had before. You hear some of the sayings that, maybe he's a little slower now, or maybe he doesn't have what he used to have as far as aggression and tenacity. But bottom line is, if you still make a mistake, he can still flash you with a knockout and put your head into the bleachers. So, but it's still not the same. If you beat him, well, you wrestled him. It's the cage. I hear a lot of these things, and it's funny. I think that makes people shy away from the challenge because maybe the reward's not as great. But I still see it as a challenge in itself as a reward to be able to defeat someone such as himself. And I looked as a great opportunity to go out there and really impose my will on him.
Well, it's definitely going to be a different fight than what we saw with Pat Barry. I mean, the Pat Barry fight and the fight with you, it's a completely different fight.
Well, Pat Barry is a phenomenal striker, but I think the one thing he made a mistake on is, and I understand that, he was very in admiration of Grokop. And I think that posed through much to his fighting, where his fight looked more like a sparring match to me, where he tagged his buddy and he's laughing about it. Hey, come on, guy, get up. There wasn't that viciousness that, like, you grab a hold of something, you don't let go, or if you hit somebody, you follow them down and you finish them. Not that I'm underestimating as far as what he is, but I just have to estimate what I've seen. The rear naked choke that he nailed on Pat Barry was not a good choke. I mean, by anybody's standards. He reached over the far side of the body. He didn't secure the hips. He didn't have any kind of control. He just reached and went desperate for it and grabbed it. And Barry had a broken hand, broken foot, and was fatigued. And Pat Barry needs to improve his ground skills also. He's a phenomenal striker, but ground skills are still, improving.
He's a guy that I'd like to see train with you actually up here at Suffer.
I would very much like to help out Pat Barry. I think he could help me immensely in the striking range. I think his kicks, I think he has the best kicks and some of the best explosion, even with his hands. I think people don't really give him enough credit for how good his hands are. I mean, the guy is probably one of the shortest heavyweights we have, and he closes distance quick.
But getting back to you and finishing up with you, obviously you've broken down what Grokop brings to the table, and you've developed a game plan with this fight, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I think that Grokop, obviously, his kicks are still probably among his best. I think he has a good straight left hand. I think his uppercut and his overhand side sweeping left hand also very good. His right hand, I don't know, maybe through the musculature of his right arm. I've been studying a lot of tapes, and at the very beginning of his career, it seemed like I can kind of count, and it looked like about 04, 06, maybe a little bit of nerve damage in his arm. He started throwing less right hands, and the structure of his right arm looks weak. I can see some of the positions he moves in. He doesn't use it very well. Just looking at it, I can see a little bit of maybe nerve damage, so it could be a neck injury or whatnot. So I think that still his left side is his better side, but his right kick can still work very well. Very good at sweeping away and moving away towards his left. He doesn't really fade to the right too much. And he's going to try to either get me to follow him and throw the kick, or if he hurts you, he likes coming forward. People think that he's a guy that runs backwards, but Grokop's dangerous if you back away from him. So even if he hurts me, I'm driving forward because, we'll clash like two bulls before I back up and give him room for that head kick.
Right. We've talked a lot about Grokop. Let's talk about you. Where are you? Obviously, the Carwin fight didn't go the way you wanted. This is the first fight back since then. How are you? Where are you at in your mindset with this fight?
Very strong. I'm very happy with where my training is, and even up to the Carwin fight, I think there was more strategic error on my part, and Carwin is a great fighter. I would like to have a rematch with him in the future. I have no excuses for why I lost him the first time. That was his night. Do I think, I can make situations slightly different? Yeah, absolutely. I think I can improve, but obviously he has a great camp. He's probably improving too, so no guarantees there.
Let's talk a little bit about what you're doing here at the gym. This is a private gym, and Suffer has kind of become a brand that you've really opened up with. You're pushing, and you're doing everything with it. It's not just your private gym. I mean, you've got obviously hats, clothes, everything like that. Yeah,
well, basically started out as a novel of ideas that I see tap out. I see guys wearing the tap out shirts, right? I see other companies out there, and the Metal Militia or whatever guys that are in MMA brand or even extreme brands that have MMA divisions. And when I see a kid wear their shirt, I see individuals able to advertise their ideas. It's a medium, you know? And so now you get to share with the world how you think about martial arts. The tap out guys get to put their spin on what they view as the UFC and mixed martial arts. All the different brands, that's pretty much what you're doing in a way. I mean, yeah, are you making a cool shirt that someone wants to buy? Yeah, but at the end of the day, that's not really what it's about. It's kind of like a way of you sharing what you think about, like, okay, this is my viewpoint. So when I did Suffer, I realized that, like, you know, a lot of people when they talk to me, like, I don't think they got me too much. And so my way of kind of explaining myself was, oh, you know, maybe I can, you know, brand some clothing and talk about it. And this way I can have an input on what I think about the martial arts and life in general, and how much, you know, I'm a Nietzsche fan. You know, I think suffering is good. You know, the Hakaguri, there's a book of samurai. I actually got, you know, I think it was one of the second articles in it. It spoke about living a life of decadence. It's bad for you. Living a life of, you know, of comfort makes you weak. And so, and I've always looked, that's why, I mean, we all see it every day. A guy coming off of a loss, a guy who's had a bad time, people that are hungry, people that are vicious. These are things that are good. Suffering makes humans strong.
Rampage even said this about, you know, with his last fight. He talked about how being in the movies and stuff, he was catered to, he was pampered a lot. He said it kind of made him a little soft.
It does make you soft.
Well, tell everyone where they can find out more information about Suffer, where they can buy the products and whatnot.
Yeah, I have my own webpage, obviously through frankmir.com, which just came up again. I have my links through there, but sufferusa.com.
There have been talks and rumors surrounding, oh, well, Frank's going to drop down to 205. Obviously, you're not. You're staying at heavyweight. Was that an actual idea or a goal? And where are you with that?
Right now, it's on pause.
Pause?
Yeah, it's definitely on pause. I want to do it. Okay, guys. Here's my personality in a nutshell. I'm not going to 205 because I feel like I will do better. As far as, is it easier fights? In fact, if anything, the 205 weight class is extremely stacked. The top 10 guys there are more, you know, the 10th guy there is more dangerous than the 10th guy in the heavyweight division as far as comparative, you know. So there's a lot more talent to worry about 205. Most guys aren't that heavy. Sometimes that's why you get guys that are, you know, like a Pat Barry who's 230, probably could go to 205, but hey, you know, at heavyweight, less competition, and you get to really beat people up. Especially if you're a fast heavyweight. So it wasn't for an easier path. It's just that it was brought up one time about me going to 205. Someone goes, oh, you can go to 205. And because certain people around me, reply was, absolutely not. There's no way you could do that.
Right, right. So, so in your mind, still in the back of your mind, there's a possibility in the future, or?
Absolutely. I think that being a multiple weight class champion would be a phenomenal feat. I think that in itself, cutting weight is an extraordinarily difficult thing. I think people underestimate how hard it is to control yourself, you know, and to control your diet, to control your food to that much of a meticulous point, to me is very admirable. You know, I admire people with that kind of willpower. And, you know, and I started doing it myself there for a little bit. I got down in weight, but then it really came down to the fact that I only had another month or so before I had to take the fight. And then it looked like I was going to have to start doing things the wrong way to try to cut, as far as just plain starving myself, right, and not dieting down properly. And that wouldn't have been beneficial to my career or to my health, which that was probably the biggest factor. But if ever another opportunity ever arises, if I ever take time off for another surgery or, you know, have an injury, yeah, I'll come back as a 205er for a little bit.
Well, I look forward to seeing you at heavyweight for this next fight. Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you.
Frank Mir, Fighters Only TV.